The zombies are hungry. A trait Ultron knows is quite common to his new allies. The android says that if their alliance is to work, the undead will have to accept that Ultron has planned for what is to come, and he knows exactly what he's doing. Hank Pym, on the other hand, has no idea what he's doing. Everything is new and confusing to the man, who doesn't even understand the idea of electronics. He has no idea how to save salvation. But Ultron, well, that fella's probably full of ideas. Back in Perfection, Magneto demands to know when they get to attack the humans, and Ultron says that even united, they'd work as little more than an angry mob. He says that for them to succeed, they must become something entirely new, and the android asks that Sabretooth step forward. In Salvation, Hank goes outside to get some air. He thinks of all the wonderful things that the Vision, Jim Hammond, and Simon Williams have accomplished here. He watches as Wonder Man flies around and is happy with a woman named Iron Cross. Elsewhere, the Vision enjoys a walk through a massive garden. He is accompanied by an elderly woman named Agatha, who he declares his love for. Over at their home, Jim Hammond and Ryoko enjoy some time together, and the woman says that Jim will make an amazing father. Hammond is worried about how their child will be partially synthetic, but Ryoko is certain things will work out. She remembers the first time they met, and how the Human Torch saved her life. Ryoko knows that danger is all around them, but still, she has never been happier. They declare their mutual love. Hank thinks that if these three men found a life for themselves here, then maybe there's hope for him as well. Out in the wasteland, Janet struggles against the zombies. She thinks on how she first met Hank Pym at a small town called Timely within the Valley of Doom. Back then, Janet was merely a working girl at a local brothel, but quickly fell in love with Pym and strove to be a better woman. However, their relationship was far from perfect, and eventually, Hank's obsession with building a clockwork man drove her away. As a result, she joined a gang to rebel against Old Man Roxon, the Baron of the Valley of Doom. These men taught her how to fight and gave her special pistols referred to as stingers, but they were no match for Doom's Thors, and Janet found herself sentenced to the wall. But now she has a chance to find her lost love, and this time, free of that clockwork man, nothing will stop them from being together. Ultron announces that he has been experimenting on the corpses of the zombies for some time, which does not amuse Magneto and the others. But the idea of combining the inorganic and the undead has long intrigued the android. It took some time, but now, well, Ultron thinks that the zombies are going to be very impressed with what he has done. Months later, Hank is still working away and thinks he finally has an idea. Suddenly, the alarm sounds. Everyone panics as their new foes, a combination of Ultron and zombie, with too many attacking at once for the city's barriers to handle. Jim says they were hoping Hank had a solution by now, as otherwise, they're all as good as dead. Pym says he has one idea, but has not tried it, and there's a terrible cost to his plan. If Sanctuary is to survive, then Jim, Simon, and the Vision have to lose. Hello and welcome to Comic Island. My name is Arden, and this is my recap and review of Age of Ultron vs. Marvel Zombies number 3. So let's talk about this issue a little bit. On the one hand, it was a pretty good comic. There's a lot of really cool, really well done panels. The zombie robot hybrids do look a little weird, but I think it goes well with their patchwork nature and conveys the idea of these foes being new and different quite nicely. That all more or less works, and it is kind of a cool idea. There's also some solid writing in this comic, and a lot of time is devoted to establishing character motivation and backstory. The one problem that the story has is it just doesn't live up to its title. Yeah, it fell for that old trap that I've seen countless times before in movies like Freddy vs. Jason or Alien vs. Predator. You have this great idea for two big bad factions fighting it out, but instead of focusing on that action and conflict, the attention seems to always get diverted towards both of these monsters fighting humans. We saw that in Alien vs. Predator in both of the movies and the video game, and we saw the exact same thing in Freddy vs. Jason, and now we're seeing it here. But there's plenty of comics where zombies are killing humans or robots are killing humans, and we've seen all of this before. The idea and the appeal of this tie-in was that both of these forces were going to be fighting each other. And yes, zombies versus robots wasn't exactly the most original thing in the world, but it should and could have led to some good, clean fun. The comic still is fun, but it does bother me that these two are just going to be working together against the humans. It makes this comic, something that could have been some pretty exceptional action, gradually slide into something far more mediocre among the Secret Wars tie-ins. I think that's a bit of a mistake and doesn't follow the comic's premise or even what's advertised on this cover. Now, I wouldn't go so far as to declare this false advertising, but it does feel a little off and disappointing. I get why they're doing this. Having humans involved with the story makes it more grounded and relatable. But do you really need to worry about realism or empathy in a comic called Age of Ultron vs. Marvel Zombies? I certainly don't think so. This should be a series of goofy, awesome action sequences because that's all people should expect going into this story. So then we have to come to whether or not I recommend this comic. Well, if the idea of these two forces teaming up to beat the humans appeals to you, and the lack of conflict between Ultron and zombies doesn't bother you, then you'll probably enjoy this story just fine. But if that does bother you, then this comic will likely be frustrating and I can't really recommend it. We went through the exact same problem with Thanos vs. Hulk, and I know a lot of our viewers were disappointed by that story because it wasn't what was promised. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep reading comics.